Hey everybody, welcome inside the studio. Chad Rosema here. Glad to be back after a nice little refreshing period. And back at it with a good-looking card to kick off another 5-day stretch. Big weekend of racing ahead. We've got some great racing right here at Mohawk Park, but then, of course, out of town, it's the huge Hamiltonian program coming up at the Meadowlands with their annual matinee program. I think it's 16 dashes starting at noon, which you can always watch and wager on right through HBIBet.com. Plenty of local flavor to be rooting for as well, and just a lot of fun watching that huge card. Something we'll take in before coming into our Saturday card, which, as I bring in the Hall of Famer Randy Waples, has been adjusted. We actually have a bit of a later post now on Saturday, 6:50, which, as we know, then will be a little bit later than that, of course. But I would think probably a couple of reasons. The Meadowlands running late on their card. They've got a busy one that's going to go right in past 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And our own Thoroughbreds as well. I think their last race scheduled to go 6:32-ish.
What do they have on
like
the
that.
Thoroughbreds?
They do have the Bison City, which is part of the Triple Tiara.
Oh, okay. The Triple Tiara.
Yeah.
What's that for the females?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, cool.
Crown. Yeah. So
right.
then because next weekend is the week Saturday, will be the Plate.
Yeah. I knew that was coming up. Yeah.
So King's Plate coming up, but yeah, I just happened to look at the entries today, so we're gonna have a later start on Saturday, and we've got 3 opens, I think, right?
Yes.
All of our opens.
Yep.
The Mare Pacers, the
Mares,
Boys,
the
and
Pacers, and the Trotters. Yeah, Trotters coming back on a short rotation, right? They all raced on, Sunday, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Sunday or Monday.
Yeah. And I think everybody, expected to be here other than James. James is out of town at the Meadowlands. He's got 9 assignments.
Good for him.
On the Hamiltonian program.
Yep.
Unfortunately, got the 10-hole.
Oh,
American Power and the draw.
Yeah.
I was watching some of that online as it unfolded, and it was about the 3rd or 4th horse, I think, that was selected their post, and he drew the 10. Somebody's got to have it.
Somebody's got to have it, and it's just a starting spot. You know what I mean? He'll find his way through, and sometimes a bad post can work to your advantage. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to try to do as much. Maybe sometimes if you had a good post, you're going to try to do a little bit too much, and it could end up biting you on the end of the race. Mm-hmm. So he's got the 10-hole. He'll figure a way out of it. He's a pretty crafty dude.
Now, a night like tonight, a lot of 2-year-olds, 8 of 10 races tonight are for the rookies. And it's not just, there's some really good rookies. Oh. We've got some that are obviously going to be, top provincial horses, but also Grand Circuit types. Like there's stakes, horses galore on tonight's program. So when you go inside Randy Waples' head, the capacity that's in there, did you have to move stuff out to make room for all that info you've got to put in? Because as you know, these 2-year-olds, there's just so much you've got to study.
It's insane. Yeah. It's almost like the race secretary decided tonight he's going to put all the best maidens and non-winners of 2 in against each other. You can go 4 and 5 deep in a lot of these races. There's one race of 2-year-olds. We're going to show you 3 replays just in the one race, and it's not a stake race, but there's 3 of them that just were incredibly good the week before, and you got to show them. And there's other ones tonight we got a lot of replays to show tonight. There's 7 of them, and it's just, this is one of those nights that I cannot see it being chalky. Yeah. Because there's just too many ways to go in every race. I just do not believe that the chalk is going to win every race. So I think you can go a lot of different ways.
And quite a few on the program here tonight. Tomorrow we've got, the Pure Ivory and the Millard Farms finals, grade 3. They're great now, especially with the 6-figure plus finals. But for the Pacers, next week, Thursday and Friday, eliminations will be When You Wish Upon a Star.
And the Dreammaker.
And then Dreammaker on Friday. Many of them competing tonight, eligible for that, and that would be likely why they're out here tonight. So there's intent going forward, too, and that's other things. So it's just another angle that you've got to consider. So bottom line is, Jim Gillespie, a bit of a thorn in our side tonight.
Yeah.
But he's put together a great card.
He's doing a great job for himself and the track, but he's making it awful tough for us to go through these cards. It's really, really tough. And it's funny because a lot of times, they'll start to kind of weed themselves out, right? I haven't seen much weeding out so far this year. I really haven't. Yeah. They're sticking with these ones in the golds. They're sticking with them in the grassroots. There's just a lot of nice 2-year-olds out there right now.
Yeah. Nobody has just blown it out.
No.
To say, I'm stamped as the, you know what I mean? But
100%.
That'll come in the coming weeks.
Now, the Kyle Boston's colt's starting to move that way. 2 golds in a Battle of Waterloo.
Yeah.
He got placed up in the Battle of Waterloo, but if his horse doesn't drift down into those pylons, I don't think he beats JD. I think he saved a lot of ground coming around that turn. If you can go through 5-6 pylons, you know.
Yeah.
So I think he saved himself a lot of ground. I think JD catches him.
Yeah, some nice OSS horses again, and then of course Doc Shalom, Hanover, and others from the U.S.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure are going to be here. Before we get into tonight's parade of rookies, we do want to look back something. I don't know, is this the first time you guys have done this specific
Second
look?
time.
Second time? Okay.
Second time.
So these are positive equipment changes that resulted in victories.
Yeah.
And this is
Look at the
over
first one.
over the past month?
This is, starting June the 29th,
Okay.
and it'll go till like August the 1st.
Okay.
All right, so more or less the month of June.
Yeah.
Look what the first one paid.
Yeah, Wind Sun Gunner, so shoeing chain, steel to aluminum up front, and a bridle change. Was this for Cassidy Schneider?
Yes.
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 Okay.
And paid $66.
That's the one in the last race
Yes.
that night, and yeah. Oh,
Come
there
up
it is.
with
race
that one.
10. Yeah.
Yeah.
$66.
Yeah, so most of them are shoeing. There are a few bridles, but you can see these. I mean, this is why it's so important to look at these equipment changes. You know that. The next one, the winner paid $43. You know, my friend Jose, he only ends up paying $4.30 with a shoeing change, aluminum to flip-flops in front. But that's kind of a reverse, you know? Like, I mean, if you're looking for speed, you'd be going flip-flops to aluminum. In this case, I think Herb was going to protect his feet. He ends up getting the job done in a very cheap kind of a class and only paying $4.30. But again, the equipment changes are very, very important, I think, anyway.
All right, and we're going to go to the next board and have a look at some others. Lions, Bulldog, again, a couple of, other short-priced winners in here. But as Randy talked about, the majority of them, what's coming is shoe changes in here. And some, especially when you're going to the flip-flops, again, likely indicates that, maybe a horse is a little tender there.
Right.
Looking for a little protection. So, if anything, you're hoping that he can be helped that way to feel a little more comfortable out there.
100%. If their feet are stinging them, they're just not going to put out as hard on the end of it. If somebody was out there making you run and you had a gravel in your foot, you know what I mean? You're not going to try as hard as you can, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what they go through. So then they put on a set of those flip-flops, protects the pounding of the feet. It's not a fast shoe, but they can all of a sudden start to try a lot harder. Kind of like how Lasix works too. You know what I mean? Makes them try a little bit harder on the end of it. So very interesting though.
Yeah, be nice to see a stats board like that with Lasix.
Ooh, that would be an interesting one.
Maybe what has been the progression. Or
whatever. That would be a really interesting. I never thought of that.
Something we can maybe tinker with down the road. More stats that we're going to kind of have a look at here. Post positions over the past week here. What's been going on? Is it our usual 5 and 6 center the gate? That's historically the most productive post positions, both on the pace and trot. Well, again, 5 and 6 at least. So this is all of them. I don't think it's broke down to pacers and trotters. This is all of them. So 5 and 6, but the rail, Randy.
Rail,
doing quite well there.
It is, for sure. It's a tough position for some horses. It's a tough position for certain gates. Other gates, it's no problem at all. Lots of horses can push off the rail and get themselves into a good spot. But the big thing you always notice is when it comes down to a driver winning a stake elimination and then getting to pick his position, nobody ever draws the rail. You ever notice that? No driver picks the rail. Why would that be? It seems like they want 4, 5, 6.
Well, inside pair there, we're doing well as far as in the money, but 5 and 6 again, clearly the best. Post 10 is just, it's just so tough. Remember, we went through that experiment where we had a second tier post 10 starter, and I think you're a believer, and I am as well. I'd rather be on the gate.
Me too.
Even if it is on the far outside.
Yeah, exactly. It's still your decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing worse than being stuck behind somebody and you have to go by what their decision is. It's not really driving, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're basically just, reacting to what they're going to do. You got the 10 hole, you got two ways of going, Basically go to the back, go to the front, or go out of there looking for a spot. 10 hole's tough. You just don't get much momentum firing out of there.
No, it is. And this track, as we know, over the last several years, you've got to be in play. It's just tough. It rarely does it come back to you.
No. And, it's a long run out to our first turn because we're a 7/8 mile.
Yep.
10 hole on a mile track, woo, that's even tougher.
Yeah.
You know, because you're into the first turn so fast.
So quickly, exactly. All right, we're going to dive in. As mentioned, 10 races, all pacing, but we have got 8 of the 10 are for the rookie pacers. Randy has got a ton of replays sent in to help you out with your handicapping. Right off the bat, we get to see what's going on. I don't think we're surprised by Twinbee Copacabana and the love for her, especially early on. But you do want to try and make a case for another in here that could maybe play spoiler right off the bat to kick off her career.
Yeah, this is going to be tough, you know what I mean? I don't necessarily like playing horses with 2 qualifiers in against horses that have actually been racing, but this one impressed me big time. Comes out of a very impressive barn, and that's the 3 horse in here, Heaven's Touch. So Twinbee Copacabana coming out of the Golds. I'm going to throw her in for second. She's the one that I'm trying to beat. Had 2 nice gold outings, but the last one come July the 19th. Little bit of a stale date right now, and before that it was July the 3rd. So really the 2 starts in, you know, in probably a half a month's time or whatever. Just not really great. So I'm going to go Heaven's Touch in here. We're going to take a look at the replay of this one's qualifier. Now, before we play the replay, the horse that finishes second in this one is Indigo Tonight. Now, she's got the 3 hole, she's in the 3rd race with the 10 hole, and her name is Hurricane Hanover. And there's a bit of a buzz about this one because this one's out of the great Hannah Hanover, the mare I actually drove for Team Stacy. Incredible mare. Interesting to see what she does as a brood mare. So she's well thought of, this Hurricane Hanover. And the one that finishes second to her, or third in there, this Delray Sealster, also in the 3rd race. So I want you to take a real good look at the horse that wins, my top pick in this race, and the horse that finishes second, and the horse that finishes 3rd in this qualifier. We're going to be using them all at some point. But what I want to see, so now Louis on top with my top choice. James is in the 2 hole with the one out of Hannah Hanover. Yep. Now, this is where I find it interesting in this one. Tyler Borth going to be coming from out of the clouds with this Delray Sealster. Big effort. Now, James moves. James a lot of times will stick. Louis taps. Watch what happens here. Like I said, this horse in the 2 hole was well thought of. James doesn't usually move unless he's got the goods. Guess what? He don't got the goods. The one on the front just keeps going forward. And, I mean, at no point is James any...
Still tight lines.
Yeah, and look at Tyler coming on the end of it, too. So, to me, these 3 horses really, really stood out. I'm going to play Heaven's Touch. If he put her in front in her 2nd qualifier, then I think that she can leave out of there tonight and hopefully come up with a big effort. So playing against the horse that I think is going to be the big chalk in here, Twinbee Copacabana, but looks like everybody had a completely different way, and that's what I'm saying tonight. There's so many ways that you can go in these races, and here's a perfect example, 4 different opinions in this first race.
Yeah, and you've got Biscuit in the Basket, who I think Garnett's going with there, from the rail. Louis drove that one last time, raced very well, finishing on the end, and then he opts for Heaven's Touch.
Yes.
For Nick Gallucci.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's simply a case of him saying, I'm going to go to the Gallucci outfit.
No.
You know what I mean? Yes, Gallucci's given him some nice fillies in the past, but he was also listed on a Ron Burke horse.
That's right.
And just opted. So I think he just thinks very highly of this Big Jim filly, and the Big Jims have been kind to Millar Farms and Nick Gallucci over the years. As mentioned, the When You Wish Upon a Star eliminations, if required, which I believe they will be a week from tonight. 2 and 8 are the only ones in here that are eligible to that. So bankroll Hanover for Team Stacy and the Legacy of Venus for Scott McEnany. That's a look at the Thursday opener. Starts the early pick 5, $75,000 guaranteed. Next up, 2-year-old Colden Gelding Pacers, nominators of 2, getting to go for $25,000 on Friday night, a week from Friday, August 14th. Eliminations for the Dreammaker. That's always been a great stepping stone, too, for a lot of
thinking out loud.
Big-name horses, yes, out of there in the past 2, 3, 4, and 6, all eligible to that. And shorter field of 7, but I feel like, Randy, this is one of those races you were talking about where you can make a case for a handful of them.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to go Hamilton Hanover. I don't know how many times
you're high on him.
Oh, I love this horse. Absolutely love this horse. But I like the other one coming out of Blaze Stable too, LA Captain. I mean, I'm going to say Hamilton Hanover in my eye is the best one, but I mean, I wouldn't want to come to an arm wrestling match with Luke over who's the best one. They both look incredibly good. I'm going to go 4-2 in this race. 9-11 Hanover has been racing extremely well. But again, back to that July the 19th date. So just a little bit of a stale date with him. I threw Herb Holland's Big D Energy down in. He does. And down in on the bottom. And Gaetan He Bears, this Trash Your Dreams. I thought that this one raced very good, but a bit of a, June the 19th and then July the 10th. So he's missed a lot of time in his last couple of starts, this Trash Your Dreams. Don't know how aggressive they're going to want to be with him, but this Hamilton Hanover, Chad, I think that they can do anything with him. I think that Tyler's going to move out of there with him. I don't believe he's going to be the last horse to touch down on the front end. I think at some point, either his stablemate or maybe Jody from the outside, somebody covers him up, and when he comes off of a helmet, I think this horse is really going to lay it down. I love this horse.
Gaetan's got a nice one too. Trash in Your Dreams. I mean, converted to Canadian dollars, a little over 4,200 Canadian.
Yeah,
this horse cost at Harrisburg.
Unbelievable.
So obviously didn't attract many bidders.
That's a good mare that he's out of.
Addison Sealster, if I'm not mistaken, raced here.
Yes, she's left something, I think.
Okay.
I think so. Anyway, yeah.
We're thinking of Addison Bay, who's
that's the one. Horizon Sealster.
That family there.
I think this one. Might have been okay as well.
But Trash in Your Dreams, that last start against El Kukui, who held on for Paul Davies in that race before getting sold to Pollock, and has been racing in the States. Trash in Your Dreams, in my opinion, wins that race if he doesn't run in. Whether he was on a line or whatever it was, but he was running in there.
Yeah.
Crooked in the stretch.
And then that makes you wonder all this time in between races. You know what I mean? It's almost like Gaetan's, trying to get him the best that he can, but he's a nice colt. Like I said, you can go a lot of different ways in these races tonight.
Yeah, some nice 2-year-olds. Race number 3 to start the early pick 4, back to the 2-year-old pacing fillies. Nominators of 1 or 12,000 lifetime. The When You Wish Upon a Star eligibles are the 1, 8, and 10. There is the aforementioned Hurricane Hanover on the outside for Team Stacy, a Stay Hungry filly out of Hanover. You've got Rockin' J. Deo, another regally bred one, Captain Treacherous out of Proclamation, that made nice strides in start number 2. Dave Maneri's got Canadian Blondes. There's that Delray Sealster for Peter Brickman. Yeah, again, here's a few you got to talk about.
This is it, eh? I mean, this is basically the way that the whole races or the whole program is going to go tonight. You can go multiple ways in these races tonight. So, Rockin' J. Dale, it was really, really hard for me not to put her up on top. I've been really high on her right from the very beginning, but coming in with a little bit of a stale date and draws the rail, I don't know how hard Bob's going to want to be with her. Delray Sealster was the one that Chad just said. That's that replay we just showed you of Tyler Borth coming hard and on the end of it to finish third in that first replay. So I'm using that one in for second. Hurricane Hanover, the one that finished second in that replay that we showed you coming from the 10 hole, throwing her down in on the bottom. Even if James decides to come out of there with her, I think it's going to still expel a little bit of energy. So I don't really look at her as a win candidate from the 10-hole first start. But Celia Shadow, now this is a different cat right here, Celia Shadow. So let's take a look at the last race of Celia Shadow. James McDonald was on this one. He elects to go to Hurricane Hanover from the outside, but I can see that. I mean, Celia Shadow, she's a cattle wash. Looks like they're going to be racing in the grassroots. Hurricane Hanover, not really sure what we got just with her. But let's take a look at Celia Shadow. Tyler Moore going to be driving this one himself tonight. James goes against. Tyler jumps on. I think Tyler's getting himself a live drive. Let's see what Celia Shadow has on the end of it in her last start. As you can see right now, James is more than comfortable down in the 2-hole. She's got great gate speed. If they want to use it, she can just rock it out of there. But this is about 3 weeks in a row that we've seen this scenario where she is locked in the 2-hole and has absolutely nowhere to go. Bobby is still on the outside. Dougie's given away absolutely nothing, and that is all this girl is going to do in here again tonight. So I think that one of these times they're going to go maybe like they did in that first qualifier and just rake down the road where she was an easy winner. I'm hoping that maybe tonight is the night with Tyler Moore in the bike in here. To me, some of his biggest competition has only been coming off the qualifying list, so maybe he might have a bit of an advantage on them. And the other one, Rockin' J Dale, she has the rail. Last time she had the rail, she got away towards the back of the pack. So Celia Shadow, Tyler Moore is the way that I'm going to go in here.
And again, what we need to process and think about, in regards to a Hurricane Hanover, mentioned she's one of 3 in here eligible to the When You Wish Upon a Star. If that's the way that they're pointing her, which I would think.
Yeah.
They've been in that in the past with other, good fillies. Hurricane Hanover from the 10-hole. James is going to do what he can to protect her, teach her, and finish with pace.
Yes, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It's that doesn't mean she can't win.
No, you still want to win. You just kind of want to do it as easy as possible.
You got to take care of them.
That's
and
right.
You've got some other stuff to do. So a horse like Celia Shadow's already got experience. She's already shown she can leave.
Yeah.
She's going to be well positioned, you'd have to think. Tyler's, I got to think Tyler's beaming because he's had some nice ones to drive. Detonator Hanover's been a good one.
Yeah.
And he gets to obviously, between he and his dad, he gets to work with some great 2-year-olds.
Yeah, he does, and he does a good job.
Yeah.
He does a good job. He's he's aggressive, but he's kind of fearless too. You know what I mean? So I got a feeling he's going to come out of there with this girl and see what they got.
All right, that's a look at race number 3 to start the early pick 4. 4th race starts the pick 6. Back to the Colton Gelding Pacers, the nominators of one group in here. A field of 9. Morning line favorite is the 2. Cheddar Luck Next Time, who looked like was a private acquisition after the July 5th outing. And going to the Montini barn in there. 4, 5, and 8 eligible to the Dream Maker eliminations if they decide to go that way. Herb Holland with another one. For Rich Stiles, was that the guy that owned
yes.
the big horse?
Captain's Quarters?
Yeah.
Yes.
Captain's Quarters
that's
out there from
him.
Michigan. Yeah, so Better's Delight. Colt that he's got here, that's got 3 qualifiers. Love Lou, another one that's going to be debuting here for Lacey McCabe and company. Where'd you go?
Well, I mean, it was tough to stay away from Love Lou, but I'm not going to go first time with this guy with the 1 qualifier under his belt. Tough to stay away from him, though. I think that I think that they really, really like this horse. So I went Billy Hill. I mean, he shows a ton of ability, but he also shows a lot of ding-dongness out there. He shows a lot of Randy on the track sometimes. You can't really trust him, 1 minute he'll be going one way, and then the next minute his mind decides to take him the other way. But I think that Dougie has gone out of his way to really, really help this horse big time. I think the speed is no problem whatsoever. It's just getting him to cooperate with Doug. And I'm not going to be sitting on my hands the first time that this guy goes sailing on by, because he brings a lot. Just maybe his mind hasn't caught up with his legs just yet. But Billy Hill is the way that I'm going to go to kick the pick 6 off.
He's got some wicked speed.
He's got some serious go. Yeah, but boy, oh boy, can he ever be flaky.
Yeah, if he can just start it. I like what you said about Love Loom. Kind of you'll evaluate, watch him, here tonight.
Yeah, he's the one that, I mean, I think you got to really, really pay close attention to Love Lou, because to me, he's the one that I think I've heard more about him than I have just about anybody else in this race. Yeah. And there's some nice ones in here. The one horse was sneaky good on end in his last West My Whistle. Jody picking up a nice live drive for Jamie Copley. The new Montini one that you brought up, he looks good in here, and the Herb Holland one, but makes you wonder with the West My Whistle when, Trevor Henry does a lot of Jamie Copley's driving. This horse was sneaky good on his last start, but yet Trevor goes to Love Lou with 1 qualifier under his belt.
Likes him. He's also, Trevor's going to be going to Florida this winter for Robbie Schlegel's Glenview Livestock, so probably tied in pretty good. I think, our Trevor and Shannon there with Love Lou, but I think he also probably likes him.
Yeah, and this is a homebred.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I got a feeling he's been sitting behind him for, hearing about him and sitting behind him, and, I just don't believe that he's going to pull the trigger tonight. He might, but I don't believe it.
All right, we're going to skip over 5. We get away from 2-year-olds briefly there to cap off the early pick 5. We start the next pick 5 in race number 6 with a field of 10 2-year-old fillies, nominators of 2 or 20,000 lifetime. In the center, you find the eligibles to the When You Wish Upon a Star, the 5, 6, and 7. The 7 being Treacherous Nova. Kevin Benz unleashed a whole. He's got a slew of 2-year-old winners.
Unbelievable.
Already. He's got a really nice roster yet again.
I'm going to say, other than maybe determination for amount of numbers, he's got the nicest stable that races here. He doesn't have big numbers, but boy, oh boy, does he ever bring the power when he comes here. 3 replays to show you in this race, you guys. Which one are we going to start with?
$20 Dolly.
$20 Dolly. Okay, so let's going to take a look at the one horse in here. $20 Dolly. I think James McDonald is picking himself up a very live drive with $20 Dolly in here. She was huge on end in her last. It was a grassroots. Bert Renault going to pass the lines over to James. So let's take a look at this one in her last. Like I said, I thought that Bert did a good job with this one. She'd only raced a few starts. Obviously, she'd been racing, you know, he'd been using her a lot. This week he decides to take her back from the 7-hole. Doesn't necessarily work out, but boy, oh boy, on the end of it, I think she looks as good in here as anybody. So you can see Bert Renault setting up right now, 4th over. And he's going to make a move right now from the outside. And this one's going to start to come forward now. This is $20 Dolly. And like I said, James McDonald, I think, picking himself up a very live drive in here tonight. She's looked good every time they've raced her. Bert finally puts his foot on the pedal, and here she comes right on the end of it, flying on the end of it. And like I said, I think that James is picking himself up a really live drive. So, Mr. Moore, where do we go next, the 2 or the 7? Okay, let's go Twin B Mythical in here. So the 2 horse in here, Twin B Mythical for Francis Dumichel and Tyler Jones. Another one. She was a winner 2 down with broken equipment. Let's take a look at her. You can see Tyler already with the shoulders back on this girl. So she was a winner the start before this one. And another one to me that is going to look really, really good in here tonight. And Francis Dumichel also coming out with some pretty nice individuals themselves. So again, you can see Tyler here at the back of the pack there looking for some room. But guess what? It ain't going to happen. He sees a little bit of room here. Now we're going to have to see if she's got anything to go through it. And she does. You know, she moves to the outside of Tyler. She starts to move forward here. But just not really, you know, kind of a bit of greenness, but right here on the end of it, I would say she's moving about as good as anybody in that race if you're looking for. But now let's take a look at my top pick in here, and this is going to be Treacherous Nova. I've loved this one, Chad, from the time that she's come out. I love the job Kevin Ben does with his horses. I love the job that Louis has done with this one. I think he has really gone out of his way to put her in a good position in here tonight. So July the 20th, had 11 days in between starts. And now this one here, she's not going to really be charging it up or anything like that until right on the end of it. It really looks like Bankroll Hanover has stolen this race. I think that's with Mark McDonald. She's first over right now. And it looks like she's just going to take off right here. He's going to take a big move with her. Louis on his back from the 9-hole, and he's been tracking this one all along. Look at Mark. He is gone with this girl, but Louis is yet to pull. Now we're going to see what Treacherous Nova can do. She's not just coming off of a helmet. She's making up 4 lengths on this one. Yeah, and now it just gets better and better as the mile goes on. My goodness, can she ever fly? And look at the separation on those 2 horses. So Treacherous Nova is the way that I'm going to go in here. But, I mean, I'm not using Queued Up. I'm not using Twin B Girl Talk. I'm not using Mauritius. I'm not using Baby Jane from the outside. Another race where you could go a bazillion different ways. But this one's interesting. 3 of us are now going to go with Treacherous Nova. And Ghislaine is the only one going to go with $20 Dolly up on top. And, I mean, I think that she looks as good in here as anybody. But Treacherous Nova has really caught my eye right from the start.
Yeah, and we see this, and Bert will educate over the first couple, and they hand the lines over
Blue Jean Gal
to James, and that's what they're doing here now with this Bulldog Hanover filly. But we know they've got a good one, on their hands. Doc Moore's Lions Bulldog. I remember watching that Battle of the Bells elimination. She was sitting a nice trip and then just jumped it off in the backstretch.
Mark says he has no idea why she did it. None whatsoever. And she was so good up until then. And like I said, she's another one there. I got her in for 3rd. But you can you could go up and down this page and not come up with a bad pick.
Yeah. All right. Over to race 7, late pick 4 underway. 2-year-old Colton Gelding pacers in here. The 1, 8, and 9. Once we see the field page here are the ones that are eligible to the Dream Maker. If they decide to go that route, I could see the well-bred Captain Cavalier doing that, Nijinsky's younger brother, and I was impressed with his debut. I have a feeling you felt pretty good about it too.
Absolutely, and it was a nice debut because he'd missed all that time, right? June the 20th was the last qualifier, and then his debut's July the 27th. So he missed, 5 weeks between starts. So let's take a look at Captain Cavalier. He's going to be my all-in tonight. I thought JD did a fantastic job subbing with this guy. James has drove him in both qualifiers, absolutely did nothing wrong with him, always protect, protect, protect. And I think that's exactly what Jonathan did with this guy last week. I mean, what a nice steer he gives Captain Cavalier. So let's see what Captain Cavalier is going to look like on the end of this mile. He's sitting third right now for Jonathan Drury. Nice, big, good-looking colt in here, too. I would say he's a little bigger than Nijinsky, you know, brother-wise. I mean, maybe this guy's getting his size a little bit more from the Captain Treacherous as opposed to the other one was a Better's Delight, wasn't he? Nijinsky? Yeah, so maybe that. But here you can see, you know, he's going to struggle a little bit. This isn't going to be flashy, but like I said, he had 6 weeks off or 5 to 6 weeks off between races. He's sticking with these two horses. This is, I'm pretty sure this is Hamilton Hanover in this race here. And I love this horse tonight. And this guy stays right with them. You know, JD is not all out on this guy. There's going to be big improvement right from that start to this start. So Captain Cavalier, even though he's in against Kerplunk, who I think is going to be real tough in this race, I'm going to go Captain Cavalier.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it in here. He'll take a lot out of that first race. And I mean, we need to keep in mind what Nijinsky, I don't even know if he won in his rookie season. If he did, it was maybe one
win.
He didn't break
9
out
starts.
until his didn't break out till his 3-year-old campaign.
Right, yeah, 9 starts, 1 win, and it might have been even been like a grassroots or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a gold.
Yeah.
Could have been a grassroots or maybe a Champlain. If Casey's listening, she'll let me know.
Yeah, but this guy, he looks nice. Bullfighter, I know he was an expensive year. I know the connections have been high on him, training down. He made the miscue here, but then went to Grand River. That was an okay effort.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he was second
and that's out of that
57.
family of James Arvitt, right?
Yeah, the Pristine Beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the, the Averett horses, too. They trace back to so many great ones.
Yeah, and they're good looking.
Yeah.
Beautiful specimens.
Yeah. So that's a look at race number 7 to start the late pick 4. Race number 8, 2-year-old filly Pacers in here, non-winners of 1. And I believe it's just the 5. I'm Sweet on Lou. That's eligible to the When You Wish Upon a Star. You've got a first-time starter by the name of Glam Rock on the inside for Seamus Quill, one that he's going to share a bit of ownership on with Bill Donovan. But Waves of Fortune, I would think the race goes through this Better's Delight.
I agree. Yeah, I'm playing against her 2 golds that she's had so far. Both of them, she come up with nice seconds in there. But I'm going to go Effective Control. Recently gone into Scott McEnany's barn. I love the job that Dustin and Tyler Jones did with this one. They've just moved this one to McEnany's barn. Multiple moves in its last start. Still had good movement on the end of it. I'm thinking that there's more of a chance that this one could catch a trip over maybe Waves of Fortune might be the last one to touch down in front. So I might be able to follow along. And I think the first time that she gets a nice, easy 2-hole trip, she's going to fire big time on the end of it. And she's going to have to, because Waves of Fortune is definitely going to be the one to beat in here. 2 back-to-back miles in 51.
Yeah, and likely preparing for the next gold.
Yes.
I'll have to take a peek and see when that'll be for these fillies. If not, could be more Grand Circuit, because as you know, when we start to get into later this month, we're going to get into like those Champlains and things of that nature, Eternal Cam Nation and that, before diving into She's a Great Lady, and because it's going to be fast and furious.
Oh, yeah.
Stakes races.
We go through a little bit of a lull, right around Battle of Waterloo time.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden
we go through the first lull after the Cup, right?
Yeah.
And then we get into, some of the big provincial stuff out of town, and then, a little bit here, and then it's going to be, again, it seems like it's weekend after weekend after weekend.
Yeah, right till about November.
Yeah. It's a-coming. That's for sure. It'll be here before you know it. One more that we're going to discuss here on the show, race number 9, wrapping up our 2-year-old, our parade of 2-year-olds. This is a 2-year-old Colton Gelding event where the 5, 7, and 8 all eligible to that Dreammaker Series. Twinbee Lou Berghini is one that I could certainly see going there. I thought his debut was pretty solid, Randy, to finish 3rd in there. You've got some others coming from some top barns in here as well.
Yeah, for sure. Bulldog Express, I think, is I'm going to go with him up on top.
Okay.
I know he made a break in his last one, but I'm willing to forgive that qualifier or that gold. That was the one where they, we had to miss the time, and they brought them back the next day. And I'm willing to forgive any horse for that day racing in the afternoon or whatever.
The
could have been
cancellation and came back.
Could have been a shower before the races. We had to go with these ones. So I'm going to give that one. He's going to be my top pick. But what I do have in here, I didn't have the guts to pull the trigger on this one, but I'm going to show you a replay of the 2-horse in here, Pawnall Bay Jim Bob. Now, maybe you can tell me out there, maybe you can tell me, Chad, is this horse locked in because he's live, or is he locked in but being a little bit of a big Jim? This big Jim, you can get a lot of desire, you get a lot of speed, but you can get a lot of ding dong out there. They can be a bit goofy too, these big Jims. So let's take a look at this one. Daryl Thiessen going to be driving this guy tonight. They're going to go to Tyler Borth on Pawnall Bay Jim Bob. But take a check on this guy. Right now, he's showing him the big Jim part. I'm a little bit lazy, and I don't want to keep up. But there's going to come a point where he's going to want to keep up. And guess what? There ain't going to be no room for Pawnall Jim Bob. And right now is going to be right into this point now. He is in trouble. And he's got nowhere to go with this guy now. And it's only going to get worse. It's going to get, he's seesawing on him, trying to get this guy to slow down, and he won't slow down. And this goes all the way through the run out.
Yeah.
The same thing, him trying to get this horse slowed down, and he would not slow down. He's still seesawing on him after the run out when the race is over and he's supposed to be tired, still going forward. So I ask you, is he live or is he just being a little bit of an ignoramus?
In my opinion, he's 100% live, but it was the big Jim part that put him in that spot on the last turn.
Right. He wouldn't keep up.
Daryl Thiessen is a guy that loves to right line.
Right.
And he couldn't move this horse because he's gapping. He doesn't want to keep up to these horses. And then all of a sudden he comes to play in the stretch there. So could be a different approach tonight. Tyler Borth is going to drive. I don't know if Daryl maybe is out of town tonight.
No, Daryl's here.
Oh, Daryl is here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He's here early, and then he's got one in the finale. But Tyler's going to get an opportunity to drive this big Jim colt here in race number 9. You'll have this one into play. Bulldog Express as well. Twinbee Lamborghini. Not for you at all in here. No, not going to put that one on the ticket.
No, I mean, I could see him. It could be a big, it could be a big mistake. I'm going more by the fact that he's going to have to drop a little bit of time in here as well. They've only had the one start under his belt, although it was a very, very good one in here. But again, you can there's so many different ways to go in this race.
All right, that's a look at the 2-year-olds we've got. Hopefully you guys like the rookies because we've got plenty tonight. Race number 10, the High Five, 94,000 plus in carryover. Randy has got a bunch of tickets and just the one single. And I'll be honest with you, given some of these tricky 2-year-old races, I'm surprised you didn't go even a little bit deeper in some of those legs.
I was thinking about it, you know what I mean? But it just would have got just too much money. I mean, I could have went 3 deep in every one of them and maybe even threw a 4 in there somewhere. But I try to keep the prices down. They're all my tickets tonight are $24 because I just didn't want to get carried away because it was like looking at the Sears wish book there. You could have easily used 6 a race.
Well, Randy's got you covered with his tickets here. I'm going to head upstairs, have fun down here tonight. Good luck. Enjoy the 2-year-olds.
Thank you. Good calls tonight, Chad. Race number 1, Heaven's Touch, is going to be my top pick, and I'm going to back this one up with Twinbee Copacabana. That's basically who I'm playing against. Race number 2, you can go either way. You can go different ways too, but either one of those 2 Blade horses I really, really like in there. Hamilton Hanover's just does it a little bit more for me. Race number 3, we showed you the replay of a locked-in Celia Shadow in her last race for James McDonald. Tyler Moore picking up a live drive in here tonight, and he trains her, so I'm sure he's going to have her extra live in here. Race number 4, I'm going to go 3 deep in here. Billy Hill, to me, brings the most ability. He scares me, the ability, but he also brings some intangibles too. Can you trust him or not? And then race number 5, I'm going to go with a single in there of CF Saving Grace. First start, Gerard Demers. I thought maybe overdriven a little bit in that last start. I think Louis Watt picking up the drive tonight on CF Saving Grace. So $24 ticket in that first sequence if you're looking to play along. And now my late pick 5, I'm going to, in race number 6, $20 Dolly, Twinbee Mythical and Treacherous Nova. We showed you all of those replays in there. I would say the 1 and the 7 to me look the strongest. Race number 7, we showed you that qualifier as well. Captain Cavalier for Jonathan Drury and Tony Beatson. This is the brother to Nijinsky. I thought he looked incredibly good his first start. I think he could fire tonight. Race number 8, I'm going to go Effective Control as my top pick, but I'm trying to beat Waves of Fortune in that one. Race 9, we showed you the replay of Paul Bay, Jim Bob, looking for a price from him. We're going to throw him in amongst them. Bulldog Express going to be my top pick in there. And then race number 10, I'm going to go with the 1 and the 2, Missy Rocks and Gracie T. I think Missy Rocks going from a barn change. Pam Forgy to Blaine McKenna, but she was racing fantastic for Pam Forgy. All Blaine has to do is keep her just as good. And Gracie T, I thought that was a real nice effort that she put and gets Trevor Henry back again in the bike, and that is always a nice thing. So on plays of the night from the resident cappers, I'm going to go with mine first. Race number 1, Heaven's Touch, is going to be my worth a look. I don't see her going off as the favorite, but absolutely love that qualifier and the talent that I think she's bringing. Beat the favorite, Hamilton Hanover. I do not see him as going off as the favorite in there, but he's my top choice. Waples Watch, Celia Shadow. We showed you that replay locked in, and this has been a few times for Celia Shadow where she's been locked in. And All In is going to be Captain Cavalier. Again, I thought that Jonathan Drury did a real nice job giving him a nice, easy lesson, and I think they can be some capitalization tonight. Race number 3, Bulldog Bell for a spot play for Kevin Ploucha in there. This one, Mark McDonald for the stable, and Dominic Ledoux. This is a daughter of Bulldog Hanover. Best of luck, Kevin. $20 dolly. I'm with you, Ghislaine. I got that one in for second, but I can smell what you're cooking in that one. And Cherry Bomber was going to be a spot play for Garnet in race number 7. But she's going to be scratched in here tonight. He's actually going to go against Captain Cavalier, Bullfighter, and Kerplunk. So that would have been a really, really nice pick if Garnet had got that one down, but not going to be with us tonight. And I think that's just about it. Okay, so we got to pay some bills, show a few commercials. We'll be back. First race is coming up real soon, and I'll be back to talk to you after Chad introduces them to you.